for you that in it he did say to the president that the BBI is a hard sell in central Kenya, raising a lot of debate over this issue, a lot of reactions we have seen over the last couple of days, and the governors from central Kenya coming out to distance themselves from Kenyatta's letter, saying that that is not the case. That has been happening across the political divide, and we want to get into that conversation in much more detail. We were supposed to be joined by the Nyeri Central MP, Ngujeri Wambugu, but for some reason we cannot find him. We wanted to get the feel of central Kenya on this issue. Is BBI really unpopular in central Kenya? What is happening around that issue inside the ruling Jubilee party especially? But we also want to have to get the feel of the other side of the handshake and the BBI coalition. That is, of course, the minority side led by the Orange Democratic Movement. We have in studio Member of Parliament for Uriri, that is Mark Nyamita, joining us from right here in Nairobi to help us give us a perspective of the feel of the ODM side or the minority side of what's happening in the BBI. Thank you for joining us, Mheshimiwa, here on KTN Prime. Reading that letter from Irungu Kenyatta, which has brought a lot of debate, whether it was initially, the debate was whether the letter was legitimate or whether it was fake. It turns out the letter was real. The contents is what we are discussing, or the perception, the implication of what this means for the BBI, which is a legacy project by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga. What is the view from ODM, and what is it that you took home from this letter?
Thank you very much, Ben. First of all, let me say the sentiments I will express here are really my own, because I don't speak officially for the party.
Right.
But let me say that I read the letter, despite the fact that it was not addressed to me. Neither was it addressed to ODM. But because it is in the public domain, I mean, we can talk about it. But when you read through the letter, a few things come out. It begins by Irungu really trying to demystify the myths that have been made by the Tanga wing within central Kenya. For example, he says, this is the only opportunity for central Kenya to take advantage of the benefits that this BBI proposal brings. More constituencies, more revenues to the county, the one shilling vote.
Right.
He even goes ahead to talk about the things that the Jubilee government has done for central Kenya, which it has not done for the rest of the country. He goes to mention his village that, you know, has electricity almost 90%. Some of us are still struggling at about 30%. So he's trying to tell the guys, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta has done a lot of things for you guys. For some of us who are reading from Nyanza, we haven't quite got this. Then he goes to say that the real issue is this thing is being managed by the provincial administration. That the people who are selling this thing are the provincial administration who are not politically inclined. My reading is Irungu Kenyatta is trying to create space for himself, and rightfully so, because he's a leader in the Senate.
All right.
So he's saying, include us. He's saying the wing of members of parliament that they're with, that they're working with, are also being undermined by their would-be opponents who are selling this thing, and this is undermining. So he's just trying to say, please bring us on board. And if I were the president, that would be easier. I mean, at this point, the president and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga must, as of necessity, this year, begin joint rallies to talk about this BBI, post the verification of the exercise.
All right.
I will not go into the pollster of conducted, because he admits that it's not scientific, so I don't want to discuss things that have no basis.
Tell me this, Mheshimiwa, there's a school of thought that intimates that it was not Kenyatta talking to President Uhuru Kenyatta, rather it was President Uhuru Kenyatta speaking to Raila Amolo Odinga. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that, because then why would the president say that the thing is not working because his officers? Of what business is does the president have communicating to Raila, telling him that the reason why this thing is not selling is because it's being spearheaded by the technocrats in the government? That doesn't make sense. By telling him that, you know, a few other people are being undermined in central Kenya, what business is the president telling Raila Odinga to his face about it? So I don't think so.
The people propagating this school of
even if
thought
it
are
were,
saying that it is kind of central Kenya pulling out of the BBI. Is that far-fetched?
I think one of the things that has missed, and which is a reality, is that the president has not come out fully to get to the grassroots in central Kenya and sell this. And this is what both Raila Amolo Odinga and the president must come out and begin to do this year. Because Kenyans want to know, beyond the BBI, what exactly is going. The anxiety is beginning to build. We cannot now be behind the curtains through and through.
All right, so from where you sit, what next from both President Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga to try and fix this public perception of a crisis, you know, bedeviling their pet project?
I don't think there's a crisis in central Kenya, because look at the number of signatures that were collected for BBI from central Kenya. Even Irungu in his letter clearly says that he was biased. This is a guy who was just in his village with a few people who he spoke to with no scientific approach. And he clearly says he was biased in Muranga. The other day we saw Muranga leaders even going to visit Raila and saying they want to support this thing. So I really, to take Irungu's Kenyatta's letter as a measure of the temperature in southern Kenya might not be true. Maybe around his village could be. Yeah, so, and again, this thing is not for central Kenya. Neither is it for Muranga or Irungu Kenyatta or Uhuru Kenyatta as a person. This thing is for all Kenyans. Yeah, so if the feeling was the same in Nyanza, if the feeling the same in a different part of the country, then we'd have reason to worry, but I don't think we are yet there.
Would you say that the handshake is very much intact? There have been some Kenyans worried that they have not seen the president and the ODM leader together for quite a while.
Well, guys, the president and Raila just the other day launched the document. People went for holiday, they were with their families. The president himself gave notice that he wanted to take some time off to be with his family. Raila was also away with his family. We were all away. So then again, you know, Raila doesn't work in Uhuru's government to be with him every day morning. He only meets him when it's necessary.
All right. Tell me this. There's a question we have been asking in our coverage this evening, whether or how important central Kenya is to the BBI vote at the referendum. How important is the Mount Kenya region for BBI to be a success? Can it be a success without Mount Kenya, do you think?
I think to the extent that BBI is supposed to bring everyone together, then not only central Kenya, but every part of Kenya is important for the success of this initiative. Right. We are trying to kill this winner takes it all, whereby we want leadership to reflect the true face of Kenya. And central Kenya, even by virtue of their numbers, are a critical player, so it would be good for them to be there. And that's why you're seeing a lot of battle there, because a lot of myths and being propagated by the Tanga wing. Yeah, so just like the rest of Kenyans, they're important to it. But I think BBI will succeed.
All right. Would you say that what's happening inside the Jubilee party is attempts by one faction, obviously the Tangatanga wing, trying to disrupt the brotherhood and the camaraderie that has been there between Jubilee really and the other side of the political divide, the minority side, led by ODM.
If you look at the spin that they've tried to give this letter, both on social media and even mainstream media as it were, it was a very well calculated move. And of course, you know, we're just 1 year to elections. Elections are going to be happening next year. So you expect a lot of activity this year. If there's anyone who can disrupt the show in the opponent's compound, they will move on to do it. And Tangatanga wing are just trying to attempt to do that. Number two, we are all aware that Tangatanga wing have already registered their own party. So they're just trying to cause a commotion before they finally hit out. And that divorce is actually going to be quite evident after these coming by-elections that are happening across the country, both in Western Kenya and in Nairobi and Machakos.
All right. In Irungu Kenyatta's letter, there was a mention, and you've alluded to it earlier, of the use of the provincial administration, so to speak, in trying to, you know, drum up support or do the logistics for the BBI, especially the collection of signatures. Would that worry you? Would it worry you the kind of perception that Kenyans would have to that kind of attitude coming from the president's backyard?
Well, not only provincial administrations, governments, including elected leaders. I mean, you're elected today, tomorrow you are not as popular as at the time of your elections. So, I mean, the government and its officers, just like policemen, you know, they're not very popular with the people. So the use of provincial administration to propagate a political agenda, of course, would not go well. And that's why I'm saying, because this is a political process, if I were to say my mind, I would think that the president now and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga should come out in their political outfits and begin to sell this thing politically and begin to involve political leaders. Because the truth is, at this point, the success or failure of this is going to be driven by politics. And that's what we need to do. So we need to see a more political face to this thing. I think the back-end executive, the technocrats, have already done their bit. We already have a bill. We already have the issues in the referendum. So it's a matter of just going out and trying to sell whether people are for them or not. But the issue alluded to by Irungu Kenyatta on the multiple choice question, you know, is completely out of order. But I also think Irungu Kenyatta should also make up his mind. You know, you cannot be on both sides. That's my message to Irungu Kenyatta. Decide. You know, you're either with the Tangatanga or you're with the government. It's simple. Because when you remember, Irungu Kenyatta is the one who purportedly even made a statement earlier that he was leading in a team to build consensus with the Tangatanga wing, whereas the document had been closed. That window has been closed. Now he's beginning to try and bring in the issue of, he's trying to bring in the issue of multiple choice question, which is practically not possible. There is no way we can do a referendum with multiple choice question and still elect six ballots on the other side. It's practically not possible. Yeah. So when you look at his language at the conclusion of his letter, even coming towards Nairobi by-election, he had better make up his mind.
All right.
Yeah. If his ground, I mean, you know, politics is local. So if he thinks that his ground is shifting, so be it.
All right. So let me rephrase this question again. Is ODM headquarters worried at all about these developments in central Kenya from where you see it, as far as you can see or you can tell?
I don't think we have anything to worry about yet. Because like I said, these are personal sentiments of Irungu Kenyatta,
right,
who went out dancing reggae in his village and purported to have conducted a pollster with no scientific basis. So why would we be worried about someone who He's just roaming around the village and talking to his friends.
And how much do the wrangles that we see inside the Jubilee party, Tanga versus Kieleweke, we are seeing there's a formation of another party, UDA, that's being linked to one side of the majority party. How much do those wrangles affect the legacy of President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga?
I think from the time of the handshake, the president has been very quiet, but very active. I mean, look at the things that are happening in Nairobi. Look at the projects that are happening even in Mombasa. Look at the projects that are happening in central Kenya, as even indicated in Irungu Kangata's letter. So I think the president sort of got to a point that, he said the rest can make noise, but he's doing his bit. But we are saying now, that's okay. Now we are getting into the political phase. To defend his legacy, he must then now move out and help us lead this political process.
How intact? Yeah. Yes, thank you for that. How intact is Raila Odinga's legacy in this whole thing as the ODM leader, and of course, with the referendum vote coming and the 2022 general election next year?
I think in terms of holding the country together and even general peace for the country, I think BBI is only adding to Raila Odinga's already rich legacy. So there is no legacy, in my view, that Raila is looking for in BBI that is for him to die for. No. He already has a rich legacy. Kenyans know what he stands for. Kenyans know what he has stood for. And they know what to expect of him even when he ascends to leadership. And one other thing, I think this year we must come out very boldly. For us, Raila has not said he wants to be president, but we're telling him there's no way we're going to pass BBI and just let it be implemented by someone else. So Raila has to then, this year, make a decision. And we are telling him, make your call to run for presidency so that we are clear. We draw the line.
All right. Well said. Before I let you go, let me ask you again. If, hypothetically speaking, if the BBI was to be rejected by central Kenya, would that work to rally other regions to also, think twice about the BBI, in your opinion? Are you worried about that?
Well, that is unlikely to happen. I mean, when you look at the BBI document, the region that stands to benefit even more is central Kenya. I absolutely see no reason as to why they are going to reject that document. If anything, they are under threat when the document doesn't pass. They will lose constituencies. The revenue, the increased revenue on the 1 man, 1 shilling, which even the Tanga wing were really pushing for at some point, is predicated on increased revenue, which is only guaranteed using this BBI document. They will all lose that. They lose their own constituencies. There will not be any seat of power because then maybe the next arrangement will not accommodate them. So I actually don't see any reason why anyone sane from central Kenya would be rejecting this. Not at all. Maybe other regions, but not central Kenya for sure. And we saw that even in the collection of signatures. They're the ones who are leading.
What is your prediction of this process moving forward?
No, I think for now we're waiting for the signatures to go through. Once the signatures have gone through, the bill will be taken to the county assemblies. Then it comes to the National Assembly and Senate. And we're looking forward to a referendum around June. We finish up with it. Kenyans know that Kenyans make a decision as to whether they want to change the constitution or not. And if they do change the constitution, then now we get ready to vote in leaders who can be able to implement the changed constitution after that. So for now, I think we're waiting for IBC, and we saw they rolled out the signature verification exercise. We are very hopeful that they should be able to conclude that hopefully before end of this January or pretty soon. Then, the next steps follow.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
For now, we can't really say much because,
yes.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Mahesh.
Because we have to wait for the legal process.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark Nyamita,
Thank
MP
you.
for Uriri, talking to us about the ODM's view, or the view from the other side of the handshake coalition of that letter by the Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kenyatta to the President, intimating that the BBI might be a hard sell inside central Kenya. We continue to analyze that for you. We were supposed to have a feel or a view from central Kenya. We were supposed to be talking to Ngunjiri Wambogu, the MP for Nyeri Central. He has disappeared into thin air, but we're going to analyze this for you here on KTN News, what this means, how important Central Kenya is, and what this means for the rest of the country and for the BBI, even as the country prepares to hold a referendum vote for the Building Bridges initiative. I'll show you leave it on KTN Prime this Tuesday night. Many thanks for watching tonight. For all of us here, my name is Ben Kitilia. Our sign language interpreter tonight was Meresha Owiti. Many thanks for the privilege of your time tonight. Good night from Nairobi.
This is KTN News.
And the DRC marks 60 years of independence from Belgium, coming to